Elon Musk and Donald Trump had a conversation that, well, if it didn't break the internet, it's broken the spirits of authoritarians around the planet. Elon Musk pointing out today that combined views of the conversation with real Donald Trump and subsequent discussions by other accounts are now reaching around 1 billion views. That's right. This is how popular the discussions about real things are, especially in a time and era where there's so much censorship around these discussions. And there's nothing really controversial about any of it, but of course they want to silence it, and that's where the controversy comes in. Even in fact, in the European Union, this is crazy. Thierry Breton posted this, a letter to Elon Musk, a threat to shut down the conversation before it even began. With great audience comes greater responsibility, says Thierry Breton. As there is a risk of amplification of potentially harmful content in the European Union and connection with the events with major audience around the world. I sent this letter to Elon Musk, and included in this letter, it's really egregious. It's crazy. Actually telling him to not have this conversation because it may break laws in Europe. This is an American having a conversation with an American. Nonetheless, he says in the letter, as you know, formal proceedings are already ongoing against X under the DSA, notably in areas linked to the dissemination of illegal content and the effectiveness of the measures taken to combat disinformation. Disinformation is apparently illegal in the European Union. Well, why would that be? Now, Linda Yaccarino, the effective face of the legal team of X, posted this one out there in response to this. This is an unprecedented attempt to stretch a law intended to apply in Europe to political activities in the US. It also patronizes European citizens, suggesting that they're incapable of listening to a conversation and drawing their own conclusions. Absolutely. But that's how authoritarians work. You've had a little too much to think these days, haven't you? This is amazing. Now, it wasn't just them trying to shut this down. As Marjorie Taylor Greene pointed out on X, this is a WAPO, a Washington Post reporter, wants to censor free speech because he can't take that Trump and Elon are going to talk on X freely without the media controlling the narrative. Of course, this is why X is so important. It's the public town square where people can just go and have conversations without the gatekeepers. And this is what they had to say about that.
Elon Musk is slated to interview Donald Trump tonight on X. I don't know if the president is going to tune in. Feel free to say if he is or not. But I think that misinformation on Twitter is not just a campaign issue. It's a America issue. What role does the White House or the president have in sort of stopping that, or stopping the spread of that, or sort of intervening in that? Some of that was about campaign misinformation, but it's a wider thing, right?
Yeah, no.
You gotta just hold on a second. You're talking about a journalist, a reporter, asking how the president of the United States is going to silence people's free speech on a free platform in a free town square. This is absurd. It's absolutely absurd. What's the answer?
Oh, and you've heard us talk about this many times from here, about the responsibilities that social media platforms have when it comes to misinformation, disinformation. Don't have anything to read out from here about specific ways that we're working on it, but we believe that they have the responsibility. These are private companies, so we're also mindful of that too. Look, it is. I think it is incredibly important to call that out as you're doing. I just don't have any specifics on what we have been doing internally as it relates to the interviews. Not something that I'm tracking, and I'm sure the president's not tracking it either.
Translation, we would love to censor this, but we just don't have the wherewithal or the legal authority to do so. And that's absolutely where they're at. Now, even the Canadian media is jumping in on this one. CTV News saying Donald Trump is returning to X for a live interview with the platform's owner, Elon Musk. Of course, just the framing is absolutely crazy to me in this one. Donald Trump is returning, at least for one night, to do a live interview Monday on X, the platform from which he was banned for nearly 2 years following the Jan 6 incident that they've hyped up all the time. You know that insurrection with all these gun-toting people that forgot to bring their guns that day. Yeah, that one. Trump and Elon Musk's owner are slated to have what the tech titan has termed a live conversation. Really put that in quotes. Live conversation in quotes at 8 p.m. Eastern time. That will be unscripted with no limits on subject matter. It should be highly entertaining. Wow, really, you have to put that in quotes, because that just can't be how you frame this story. Now, how are they framing it? Musk, who has described himself as a Democrat up until a few years ago, endorsed Trump's candidacy 2 days after the U.S. former president was wounded during an attempted assassination at a Pennsylvania rally last month. Long before he endorsed Trump, Musk turned increasingly towards the right as his posts and actions on the platform show. It's just unbelievable. This is how they show it. Absolutely. It's representative of the mainstream public. A lot of people who did describe themselves as Democrats until only a few years ago have been shifting towards the right. Not some crazy right, just the center right. And guess what? Donald Trump is center right. He is very much a centrist on a lot of issues, and it's just amazing that they try to paint how they try to paint this. It really is amazing. Now, Elon Musk, before the interview began, or interview conversation, however you want to call it, if you listen to it, it really does play out like a conversation, not like an interview. So I'd recommend go check it out, and I'll give links to where you can go have a look at that in the description down below. But Elon Musk, just before posting the wise words of John F. Kennedy. That's right. In 1946, the United Nations General Assembly passed a resolution reading in part, "Freedom of information is a fundamental human right, and the touchstone of all the freedoms to which the United States is consecrated." This is our touchstone as well. This is the code of the voice of America. We welcome the views of others. We seek a free flow of information across national boundaries and oceans, across iron curtains and stone walls. We are not afraid to entrust the American people with the unpleasant facts, foreign ideas, alien philosophies, and competitive values. For a nation that is afraid to let its people judge the truth and falsehood in an open market is a nation that is afraid of its people. Well, there is a government. There are government agencies and there are authoritarians everywhere that are absolutely afraid of their own people. Now, if you wanted to tune into this while it was happening live, as I did, it was not very easy because it was really hard to get in. It was so much traffic going into this, which was on Donald Trump's Twitter account. There was so much going on, so many people trying to tune in that the space was not available. And not only that, there was DDoS attacks going on, which Elon Musk talks about in the first few minutes of the broadcast. Now, there were other people who did get in that were broadcasting it on YouTube. Here we have Benny Johnson, and he was broadcasting it. I'll leave a link in the description for that. If you're not a Twitter user, you can go over and listen to it there. But if you are a Twitter user, I'll leave a link in the description for Elon Musk, who reposted the conversation this morning. And here's just first few minutes of it where he's explaining the DDoS attack.
My apologies for the late start. We unfortunately had a massive distributed denial of service attack against our servers, and saturated all of our data lines. Like basically hundreds of gigabits of data were saturated. We think we've overcome most of that, and so it's now time to proceed. But as this massive attack illustrates, there's a lot of opposition to people just hearing what President Trump has to say, and but I'm honored to have this conversation. I want to emphasize it's a conversation, and it's really intended to just get a feel for what Donald Trump is just like in a conversation. It's hard to catch a vibe about someone if you just don't hear them talk in a normal way. And when there's an adversarial interview, like no one's themselves in an adversarial interview. So and this is really aimed at kind of open-minded, independent voters who just trying to make up their mind. So you can understand like what is what is it just like to have a conversation. So honored to Donald, great to speak. We had a great conversation yesterday.
Well, I'll leave it to you. Go watch this in its entirety. But yeah, there's a real concerted effort to make sure that people who are sitting on the fence don't hear this conversation, because they've effectively tried to dehumanize Donald Trump and make it so it seems like he's a big bad guy. Well, just have a listen to what he has to say. Make up your mind for yourself. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to them. Don't listen to anybody. Listen to yourself. Go listen to the conversation on your own. And I like the idea of having a conversation rather than an adversarial interview. This is where it comes in. Now, if you want to get some of the highlights, I'll leave a link here. If you don't have the whole time to watch the whole thing, I recommend watching the whole thing. But the Vigilant Fox put up a bunch of good highlights you can check out here. I'll leave a link for that in the description down below. But of course, I would encourage people to go check out the entirety of it for yourself. Watch it all. Find out exactly where you sit on this subject. Whether or not you're American, you could be Canadian, you could be European. Why is the European Commission, trying to silence two Americans talking about American issues? That's a big question to be had, and it would be good to take that up with the leadership in your own region. Now, I'd love to leave this one with you guys. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Where are you coming from in this whole thing? What do you think? Should they silence Trump, or should he be able to speak freely? Is it the town square, or is it something that should be censored? Well, I doubt people are going to choose the censorship side, but leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think. And of course, we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.